Hello and happy Monday.
Good morning.
How are ya?
I am here.
I hear ya. It is a Monday for sure. Good morning, everybody. Drop your name and location in the chat so we know who you are. We know you're here. We just don't know who you are. So drop your name. Oh, good. Look, we've got some folks joining us. Happy Monday. I don't know about y'all, but it is a little bit warmer here today than it has been the last
Take
few.
that, Phil.
That's right. I know. Hey, Jules, good to see you. Angie? Yay, awesome. Okay. All right. So it is Monday and we are back. So welcome to Mindset Monday, where independent patient advocates like us come together to kickstart the week with positivity and inspiration. I'm Nicole Broadhurst, and this is my co-host, Kayla Thompson-Riviere. Hello. So we've got a really powerful quote. We're focusing on goals today. So let's dive in and get inspired. What do you think? You can
Mm-hmm.
see the quote there. And it is goals are dreams with deadlines. And if you know me, you know that I love this, right? Diana Scharf Hunt. Hey, I did a quick search. She wrote a really cool book that might end up on our Advocate Book Nook book
Hmm.
wheel. I know, right? It's called, what is it called? It is called Studying Smart: How to Do Your Work and Do It Well, How to Survive the Pressure and Still Have Time for Fun. I think that sounds like
Oh,
a,
what is that?
right? I know, right? I know, right? It's actually, she wrote it for college bound students, but I'm going to tell you, it sounds like it might be really helpful for all of us.
Is
So,
it studying smart?
studying smart. Yes.
Hmm.
Time management for college students. That's what it's called. But I kind of left that off
Okay.
because I thought I would want to. Angie
Right,
loves your
right.
Kayla.
Oh, thank
Chris,
you.
good to have you this morning, y'all. Okay, so goals or dreams with deadlines. What do you think about that, Kayla?
Um, well, honestly, so most of the time I get in here and I'm like, oh, this quote, I love it. I don't love this one. And perhaps it obviously that's taken out of context. I'm sure there's stuff around it that maybe would help sway my opinion. But immediately when I look at this, I'm like, that's just the beginning though. Deadlines is just the beginning.
Mhm.
So if you just take this and run with it, you're still going to be disappointed. At least there's so much more to add to it. But thank goodness that we have another 26 minutes for that discussion. So we will fill in the rest. But go ahead, Nicole, because I know you have notes you want to share.
Oh, of course, you know. Well, I love this quote, and here's why. Because goals are just goals. Like they're just words. They're just things we put on a piece of paper. They're things we put in our strategic action plan. We put on the whiteboard. We whatever we do with them. But nothing happens if nothing happens. So I love this because this is like, and I agree, Kayla, wholeheartedly. Like this is like just the first step of what we're talking about. But what do they say? The journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. So I feel like it's okay. This is that first step. The first step is saying, okay, I have this goal, put some time around it, right? Like figure out what that means. Um, it's actually taking aspirations and things that we have in our head, dreams, the things that we want to have come to fruition, and it's putting some action behind them.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we don't, it's going to end up like the whiteboard in my kitchen that needs to be rehung. And I say that specifically because Friday we had our Plan With Me session on February, and we talked about these personal things. And literally, rehang the whiteboard in my kitchen has been on my to do list for a week and a half. Now, it will get done.
Right.
As long as it keeps showing up on that daily reminder, it will get done. And that's okay. Putting it on the daily reminder was putting it into action. Like I'm doing something about doing it. I know that sounds a little bit crazy,
But it didn't have a deadline. So this is, I think you're actually starting to allude to why I don't particularly care for this quote, because in my personal experience, the deadline is like the most useless piece of planning for me, because oftentimes, let's just say you did put a deadline on it. Okay, and you said, all right, the whiteboard is going to get hung up today. Well, there's a couple of ways that can go. Either A, you commit to that deadline and you make time to hang up that whiteboard, which may that bumps it to the top of your priority list, which may not be the wisest thing for everything else that I know you have on your priority list right now. So by being so attached to that deadline, you're really kind of shooting yourself in the foot for all of your higher priority items. Secondly, that deadline, it's either a make it or you don't. It's a pass or a fail. You succeeded or you failed, and it doesn't leave any room for life, which happens, and things need to be constantly reassessed and reprioritized. And that is what you do. And that's exactly why this hang the whiteboard in the kitchen has been on your task list for a week and a half, because you are wise enough to say, I'm not going to get hung up on this deadline. The time frame isn't important. As long as it stays on my radar screen, it will get done when it's appropriate and all the higher priority items are completed first.
Correct. Yes. And so I love this because this is the mindset piece, right? This is the mindset piece, the mindset around the word deadline. Because until you just said that, it didn't even occur to me that that was a problem, moving the deadline. Because I move deadlines all the time.
But for people like me, I'm a very like literal minded person. A deadline. You're dead if you don't make the line. So either you succeeded or you failed. And it doesn't leave, it just, to me, it doesn't leave room to ebb and flow with the natural tides of life. I don't know. And then it misses all the other pieces of like goal planning.
Yeah. So this is a great conversation because, like I said, literally that never occurred to me. I was like, deadlines, I just put a deadline. Deadlines are arbitrary. Just give it one.
So if they're arbitrary, that takes away their power, in my opinion.
Because you know what? Because the truth is when I give it a deadline, that's when I move it into my awareness and move it towards getting done. This is really interesting to me because
it's kind of like the concept of like they teach, sometimes they'll tell people, I've heard, for time management strategies, like if you know you're always running late, my husband did this for a while, we thought about it. If you know you're always running late, then set your watch or the clock in your car 10 minutes ahead so that you'll trick yourself into actually being on time. You know what happens? You know that clock is 10 minutes ahead. So you look at it and you go, I still have 10 more minutes. All you're doing is making life harder and trying to figure out which time you're looking at, if it's the real time or the wrong time, but it doesn't do anything to address the root reasons of why you run late in the first place. You can't.
I agree with that
110%.
So I agree with that. Yeah.
If a deadline is not a deadline, then to me, it's kind of the same philosophy. Like, you have already told yourself it doesn't really matter. So then what's the point?
But it does matter. I didn't tell myself it doesn't matter. I have lots of things. I have lots of things. In fact, I can show you. Like, I have lots of things that are on my radar that do not have deadlines. None of this, these are just things that I want to get done. at some point in the future. I would not consider these goals. They're not goals because it's just a list. Now, but things that have deadlines show up here. And this is crazy because it does matter, because at some point, the things on that daily list that have deadlines that I've consistently like missed, like they're going to work themselves up and get done.
But how does it feel?
So I don't feel like,
yeah. How does it feel when you have to confront, mild as it may be, confront that you set a deadline to this thing and you missed. That doesn't sound like a great feeling.
life.
Whereas I would shift that and say, for instance, I know you've shared and people know that you're doing this boot camp right now.
Yeah.
Those pieces have a deadline. Because the boot camp is happening on this day. The stuff has to be done by this time. That, to me, that is a deadline. It's a non-negotiable. Whereas the other stuff that you're putting out and you're saying, I'm going to get it done this day, that's a priority list. And it's towards the bottom because it hasn't hit. It's not near a hard deadline. It's just on the list of things to get done when the time allows to reach that level of priority.
I love it. I do.
So I think the biggest takeaway today is there are different perspectives and none of them are wrong.
Right?
Whatever works for you.
And that is the message, right? Whatever works for you. Because clearly this works for me. I mean, I feel, because you asked how it felt, and I'll be fully transparent. I feel freaking great. I feel fantastic about the way that I utilize these tools and the deadlines and the things that I set. And so the big message is whatever works for you, right? If you feel like deadlines are that hard stop, and that's what a deadline is, use it that way. And maybe this quote is not for you. You're like me and you feel like dreams just kind of stay in this periphery until I snatch it and give it some sort of time frame. I don't even know it doesn't have to be called a deadline. Just time frame.
Right. No, time frame is great.
Dreams with a time frame.
Yeah. But so this kind of segues into the pieces that I feel this quote is leaving out. And like I said, who knows? Maybe they're in the next sentence and we just didn't get that with this quote.
Yeah. Right.
But it makes me think, it brings to mind the concept of SMART goals, where when you are outlining goals, a goal, I really love the quote that, what is it? A goal without a plan is just a wish. And
I love that one too.
So for wishes to become goals, they need an actionable plan, which is about more than just a deadline or a time frame. Because I can say, I want X thing to happen by Y date. Okay. Well, just because you put a deadline on it, it's not any closer to happening. Right. You got to have the whole rest of the plan. So for those who maybe are not familiar, SMART is an acronym and it stands for specific, measurable, attainable, meaning not too big, hairy, and audacious, relevant to your overarching goal, and time bound. Again, a time frame is important. Don't say, I'm not saying that it's not important.
Yeah, I love it.
But all of those pieces have to be in place so that you can start to craft a really specific plan for, okay, I have this thing I want to accomplish. I want to accomplish it in this time frame. Now, how are we going to get there? And to me, I feel like the how is more important than the when.
Yes.
sometimes.
This conversation. I also love some of the comments we're getting in the chat. I mean, really, because Angie's talking about holding herself to deadlines more and being better at estimating how long something will take. Look, I tell my son this all the time, all the time, all the time. Everything is going to take you longer than you ever think it's going to take. Like something that should take me 10 minutes is going to take me 20. And then if I can get time back, great. I love what Jules said. Jules, this is along the mindset that I have around deadlines. And it's from Atomic Habits, which absolutely is on our book wheel. So someday we will get it. And I read this book every January just to kind of prep back into. So meeting your deadline even 50% of the time means you're a person who meets their deadlines. Again, arbitrary, but this is like, I knew I got that from somewhere. So maybe I got it from Atomic Habits, not sure about that. But for sure, it's all about identifying, like I said, the first step, just get it on the freaking radar and get some time around it, right? And then once you do that, then you can build some accountability around the how, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
I love
And
this. Did you see, can you pull up, there's another, Angie shared, yes, totally not pass fail, embrace
I'll see her.
flexibility over rigidity was one of our previous quotes. So so it sounds like Angie is identifying with what I'm saying, whereas Jules and somebody else just a minute ago was identifying more with what you were saying. So I think that is the beauty of what Nicole and I bring to Mindset Monday, is that our like default nature is pretty different. And so we can bring such a balance of perspectives.
And equally successful and effective. Like, don't forget that part, Kayla, right? Like, different and equally efficient and effective and working, which I think illustrates how personalized this work really is.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what the general principles are the same, and the way we execute them is different. So, or the way we think about them is different. And then, of course, it's so funny because the accountability and the momentum around the how to get those things done led to my third thing that was on my notes, that it was all about prioritizing what really matters. And that readjustment.
That we absolutely will always agree on.
I know, right? Yeah. For sure, because that is ever changing and fluctuating and all of those things. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, what are some things? I guess that kind of makes it, this is a great conversation, but it kind of makes it a little bit more challenging on like, okay, so what's action for this one this week? Like, do we want to give a time frame to something? Do we need to move something? Right? Like, do we need to like move something out of the periphery into?
Well, I think this maybe is just an excellent time for our listeners to really kind of pause and take a self-assessment. You know, are you somebody who struggles with achieving things on any kind of a time frame? You know, maybe taking Nicole's approach would be more beneficial for you. Or are you somebody who is more like me? And I have to say, I think a lot of it stems from the way I was raised. I was raised by, both my parents were in the military. So I was raised in a very, very strict, like, no room for anything household. And then I became a bedside nurse. And I know I've shared with you, this piece of this has been a difficult transition for me with owning my own business. When you work as a bedside clinician, there is a whole host of things you have to complete in your shift. And you don't leave until those things are done. No matter what happened, no matter literally if somebody tried to die, that just adds more things to the to-do list. but there is no clocking out until the to-do list is done. And that was my mentality. That was the way I worked for, well over a decade. And that has been a struggle transitioning over now into starting and running my business, because there is no end to the to-do list. And if left to my own devices, I will continue to put very tight timelines on everything, and I can really work myself into a tailspin. And I imagine I can't be the only one who is kind of wired more that way. So actually removing some pressure has been important for me in this business. And I think both of those perspectives kind of culminate into the same place, though, with something you've talked about many times, where on any given day, you have like your 1 to 3 like must-haves dones, and everything else is like a nice to get done kind of list. And that's been super helpful for me. So recognizing where you are on that spectrum, and then putting a plan around, kind of catering to your natural tendencies, I think is a great place to start with this week.
I love it. And I'm going to encourage you, Kayla, just FYI, it would not be uncommon for me to be the outlier for how we think about these things. That is pretty much my default. I'm an outlier in a lot of ways. So, and I own that, and I embrace it. But I will say that I love that. If you struggle with this whole idea of deadlines, and because you're not alone, Kayla, Janet is in the chat all about it. I wish I could just kind of show all of her comments. But she was talking about how, the pass fail, meet the SMART goals was very toxic in her corporate employment previous. And so, so she's struggling with that as well. And I love what you said about the 1 to 3 things. I'll tell you, that's the thing that I love about my my planner, is that it literally has, what is the one thing that absolutely must get done today, come hellfire or storm or hurricane or whatever? What's the one thing that has to get done? And I kind of focus on that.
See, now that is what I define as a deadline.
That only happens each day, and it changes every day. So,
but the one thing come hell or high water, that is what is a deadline in my mind. So if you're like, everything has a deadline, I'm like, that's too much hell and high water.
Well, the good news is everything has one, but only one of them is today. And that is where I kind of leave that, because that really is my reality. That I mean, everything else is just the periphery, and so I don't know, take what works and use it and leverage it. And I love that. Spend some time this week figuring out what that is for you, right? What is that one thing that you can take from this, and what works for you? And breaking projects down, all of that stuff is important. How do we eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? Yeah. So, what's the one bite that has to be taken today?
And then how many times are you going to have to chew it? And on average, there's a couple things about time frames and how long things will take. For most people, on average, it will actually take you 1.5 times the amount of time you think it will take you. However, if it's a new thing, which when we're running our own business, a lot of the tasks on our to-do list we're doing for the first time, you may want to err on the side of actually doubling that time frame. And the reason being is you don't want to end up say, oh no, I won't take double. I'll do the 1.5, but really, if I think it's going to take an hour, it's probably going to take an hour. And then you're going to line up 8 things that are going to take an hour, and you'll get through half of them and run out of brain power for the other day, for the rest of the day. And then you have to figure out how you're going to shift those things around.
And then beat yourself up all evening because you didn't get the other 4 done. Like,
be shooting all over yourself.
I know, right? Yes, it's a terrible cycle. Please don't do that.
Whereas what I do for myself, I break it up into time blocks. I actually, when I plan out my week, I created myself a template in Canva, and I actually have time blocks that are different. You know, this is a half-hour time block. This is a 1 hour, so that I can drag and drop and move things around and have my stuff roll over week to week for my repetitive things or my ongoing projects. And it makes it so that, you know, if I get everything done that I needed to in that day and I still have time and brain power at the end of the day, well, great. Now I can get started on tomorrow. And that feels so much better than I didn't get all the things done and now I got to move things off my calendar to next week to move these things over. That's not a great feeling.
Right. Yeah. It's really interesting. So here's what I can say. Like, I hear you talking about that, and I'm just like, this is crazy. I probably have been moving stuff for so long that it just doesn't affect me like that anymore. I'm guessing. I'm guessing because I can remember, Kayla, you know, you and I have had this conversation around, you know, the to-do list is never done. And it's been probably 20 years since I had that revelation. True story. Like when I moved, I think when it happened for me was when I moved off of the front lines and into an administrative role in healthcare. And that happened a long time ago, right? And so I have a lot of practice around the to-do list never getting done. And that's just kind of my acceptance level of that. So I love what you said about that. If that's a new concept for you, if you're just moving from a task-driven role in your day-to-day work into this more fluid and administrative type role in your own business, be nice to yourself, because this mind shift takes time and practice to get used to. The to-do list never goes away. It's never going to be done. And just releasing that. And that is a hard mind shift to take. So be nice. It takes time and practice to do that. We are out of time, guys. Great conversation. I love it. I look forward. Let's see, what does it say here? Is there something that you're going to move from your periphery into your time frame? If are you going to give it a time frame?
Put it on the dashboard.
Put it on the dashboard. I like that. Put it on the dashboard so you're looking at it. Drop it in the comments. Let us know what that is. I'm also interested to hear if you identify more with how I perceived this quote, or Kayla. I'm always interested in that, in knowing. Like I said, I won't be surprised to find the outlier. So I'll watch for that as well. And then I think this is a wrap for this one, guys. As always, we are super grateful for you, our community here in the circle, and as independent patient advocates. I hope you can take this information and help yourself make this week a positive week, and rewatch it. If the week gets too hard, you can always come back and watch the recording. And we will see you next week, where we'll talk about some other quote and maybe have some more dialogue around it. Everybody have a great week, and we'll see you on Wednesday in the live call. Talk to you guys later. Bye.